AFAB policies are informed by Student Senate policy and also UW system policy. Sometimes it can be really confusing, and because of the shared governance that's outlined in Wisconsin statutes, students have a tremendous amount of control over how the segregated fees that they collect, that AFAB disperses, are used. There's a couple things in the policies that always stay the same that I think are important for advisors to remember. Number one is that students define the process. Typically on our campus, AFAB will get together very early in the fall. They'll start to develop language describing their process. Usually budgets are due in kind of mid to usually late fall, and then budget hearings will be held where students will have an opportunity to come in and present their budget to the AFAB board. Advisors are certainly welcome to attend, but AFAB typically asks for the president or some other student leader on the executive board to be the main presenter of the budget. Once that's done, AFAB deliberates, and then they make a first draft of their budget where they look at the total amount of segregated fees that they're able to allocate based on our enrollment, and will do their best to try to match everybody's first priority. Typically, we are getting to the point where if you total student organization requests, we're getting up to the $700,000 range. Typically, the amount of money that we're collecting through these fees is around $225,000. So as you can see, it's a very difficult job AFAB has to try to put this budget together. Once the first draft of the budget is developed, then it will be dispersed, and student organizations will have an opportunity to appeal their budget decision. In this situation, they'll inform AFAB that they would like to come in front of them. They will present their case, and then AFAB will make a decision. If AFAB decides not to change or uphold the appeal from the student organization, it will then go to Student Senate, the full Student Senate, that will then make a determination as to whether or not an appeal will be heard. Then, once that's all completed, students will be communicated their total amount for that year in line item fashion. One other piece that never changes is that student organizations are asked to spend their money per the line item that AFAB decided. The reason for that is because ultimately, even though AFAB is transferring that money into the student organization account, AFAB is still ultimately responsible for that money. And so it is part of their duties per the policies that inform what they do, that they need to make sure and take steps to ensure that student organizations are spending their money in a way that's consistent with how segregated fees should be spent. The policies from UW system that outline this are commonly referred to as F50 or Financial Paper 50. There's links to that on the UW system website. And we also have some information in the Office of Student Life that can help with that. But those are policies that remain fairly consistent. Some things that AFAB has the ability to adjust are their priorities. There are times where, based on discussions that these elected student leaders have, they will decide that they want to prioritize, for example, having events on campus. That's something that's within their right to do. Certainly all of those meetings are open, so if student organization leaders have a different opinion and feel as though perhaps they want to help inform AFAB's priorities, they can certainly do that by attending any of their meetings, and they will definitely be heard. AFAB will annually define their priorities in written form and will inform student organization leaders of that before the budget process begins. Now, if they prioritize holding events on campus, that certainly doesn't mean that AFAB will not provide funding for professional development experiences, for example, that might involve attending a conference off campus. It's kind of a judgment call that they make, but what we encourage student organization leaders to do, and would encourage you as advisors to encourage them to put together the budget based on what they want to do. Make sure that all the activities within the budget are consistent with the mission and purpose of the organization, and then articulate to AFAB why the priorities that you made are your priorities, so that they can truly understand the mission and purpose of your organization and what you hope to do. If you ever have any questions about the AFAB process, please don't hesitate to contact us in Student Life. Sometimes it can be confusing. We work with the policies and the students frequently and can help sort out any sort of confusion that might exist.